Hello, health enthusiasts, and welcome to Rev Up Health, your go-to podcast for all things wellness. I'm Dr. Mark Hechler.
And I'm Tandi Hechler. Together, we're here to fuel your health journey with the best of functional medicine and holistic well-being.
Each episode will dive deep into topics that matter to your health, bringing you the latest insights, research, and inspiring stories.
So whether you're on a quest for vibrant health or just looking for daily health tips, we've got you covered.
So let's embark on this journey together and transform the way you live.
Hello, welcome to the Rev Up Health podcast. I'm Tandi.
And I'm Dr. Mark.
And today we wanted to talk a little bit about our most recent adventure. We traveled to Bhutan and did a half marathon, and there was lots of hiking. Bhutan is an Asian country, kind of right under Tibet in the Himalayan mountains. And it was very beautiful, a great place to visit, wonderful people there, fun culture to learn about.
Very loving people, very outgoing folks.
Yes.
Very appreciative.
So before we get going, a little bit of background on this marathon, half marathon, all over the world.
Adventure.
So how did it start?
Well, basically, back when I was running a lot of marathons and we first started to date, before we got married, essentially I signed up for a race in Madagascar, and the night before, going up to get my bib, they had a little table. It was a smaller marathon, so there was probably only about 100 of us. But they had a little table there that had a little sign that said, you can still sign up. So we signed you up. I signed you up without you even knowing it and brought you the bib that night. And you go, what is this? You're running a half marathon tomorrow. So
yes. Running is a very loose term. And previous to this, I had done a half marathon before that I'd trained for probably 6 years previous. And after I completed that marathon, I thought, well, that's great. I've done that and I don't have to do that again. But I figured, what else am I going to do all day while he's out running a full marathon? So I can walk it for sure. I can walk it. So that was the start. And then that's kind of what I've done as I go around with him completing.
Right. Traveling the world, traveling the United States, running races, visiting countries and states and cities and enjoying ourselves.
Yes. So just taking it slow, even though I've probably done 20-ish half marathons now, I pretty much always take it easy, but I do enjoy it. And so enter Bhutan, which I chose. I chose this.
But you chose it for what reason?
Well, because it was in Bhutan, and it's a very spiritual, beautiful place. I chose it for the place.
But also, it was going to be your what continent?
6.
Yes. 6
of 7 continents. Yeah. So
check that off the list.
Right.
But yeah, so we got that. We entered that, and at that point we were training up to it. We were doing some training, and maybe wasn't as consistent or heavy training as we need to. But we also live at, only 1,000-foot elevation here in Missouri. And the base elevation in Bhutan was at 7,400 feet. So
yeah,
that was quite a big increase in elevation, but also the heat was different over there too. It wasn't like was over here. So the heat was quite a bit of a change. So you throw in the heat, you throw in the elevation.
And hills.
And a lot of hills. Exactly, a lot of hills. So. And
typically we don't do these races together. Mark does his marathon and I do my half. And we have done a couple. This was like our third one together. Like I said, I typically take a race pretty easy. However, this time we're together and the first part of the race is downhill. So we were running quite a bit and it didn't feel terrible. It was okay. It honestly, I felt really good.
Right.
First.
And I always have this one little rule that
8K.
You can walk uphill, but if there's downhill, you need to kind of run. So it's you can make good ground and it's just you're falling downhill. All you got to do is keep your feet moving. So first part of it was downhill. First few miles there actually was real gentle downhill. And so when it was a nice day that morning, it started out really nice and cool, and a lot of energy, and we felt good. We got a good sleep. We had a good, we had good eating down while we were there. And so everything was just right to start that off.
Start the race off well. Another thing to note is that there were no porta potties in Bhutan. So I had this kind of thing in the back of my head that I maybe shouldn't drink too much because I didn't want to have to go to the bathroom and not know where I might be able to do that. So
can hydrate and go crazy before the race.
Another layer
going to be a problem.
Of situation. Ultimately, this race was the most challenging half marathon that I've ever done.
Because of the heat, the elevation, and the hills.
Yes.
And the lack of, quite honestly, lack of support, too. There wasn't very many stations to get fluids.
Well, every
3
miles, every 3 miles, they had...
Every few miles.
It was good for the location. Right. Yes, it's not like a race that you do in the States. Definitely not the same thing.
And we really didn't carry much fluids with us.
No, none. We didn't carry any except for the bottle that they gave us at the first stop. The time we got to the second half of the race, this is more uphill than it is downhill. And any of the downhills are kind of rocky. So you really couldn't run down those hills. But by the time we got to the last quarter of the race, I was really struggling. I was super hot, thirsty. I was struggling.
Yeah, probably ran you a little hard at the first part of it. So, but you were doing great. You're doing well, and you're recovering. We would get some walking in, and it was working out fine. So, but
yes,
it's tough to judge. It's tough for someone to judge someone else's fitness level or their hydration levels or kind of know what's going on. I mean, you actually had trouble there at the end too with not really sweating.
Yes, exactly. So
that was a little tip that you noticed.
Yes. So at this point, I sent Mark to the general store. And in Bhutan, it's really funny because a lot of people have these little general stores and they're just kind of attached to their house. And it was like there were general stores all along this race route.
It's like a one-room general store.
Yes.
So they're just like basic necessities and stuff.
But they had water and it was cold. Right. So you bought me some water and it was nice. And then I was feeling like, okay, yes, I can, this is totally fine. And I mean, you'll see from the pictures, I looked good at the end. I didn't look like I was struggling as much as I was. And truth be told, I actually did not feel terrible after we finished. I think it was listening to the body and kind of taking that turn and slowing way down and
knowing that
getting the extra water.
To go and so you gotta cut back. You gotta save some of the reserves. So get to the end.
Yes. So one thing, if you run races or do endurance events, previously, I would say before this year, I would kind of always know that like the next couple of days, I was going to be pretty sore and really have to try to recover. One thing that we have noticed this year, because in December, we started taking Urolithin A and Mitopurine. And that has been a game changer as far as recovery and
mitochondrial health and efficiency. The point of Urolithin A with Mitopure is in my mind is not necessarily from a strength standpoint to make you go faster. They're really there to make you go farther so that your endurance level is better. So and then recovery is going to be better and easier afterwards too, because you've got more efficiency. And so that's what I kind of liked about that.
Yeah, I have really felt that though. I think I was a little bit sore in like my adductors just from the extra running that I did on this race, but it was not like a normal post-race kind of feeling.
Yeah. And to back this up a little bit too, this race, we just didn't show up and run this race. I mean, we showed up there to get climatized acclimate to the elevation. But we did two strenuous hikes that were pretty much all day hikes uphill. And so there was a lot of elevation gain, 2,700 foot elevation gain on one hike one day, and these are 8 and 6 mile long hikes as the crow flies. So not necessarily counting the up and downs and all. So, but there's a lot of hills. And so as a result, you have a lot of muscle fatigue, and you have to recover from that, which we had a day between hikes and the race to recover.
Yeah.
So that's another benefit of having this MitoPure, is that it allowed us, I think, to recover quicker and faster.
Yes, I would agree. So ultimately, after this race and kind of feeling that struggle, which I don't typically feel, I got to thinking, okay, so if I'm doing this right now, I'm 46, what does this look like when I'm 70? And so I'm thinking a little bit that I need to improve my endurance and my strength.
And knowing that every year that goes by, we do tend to dwindle down. We lose hormonal support.
And muscle mass, all the things. So you really have to be working to maintain those things. So enter a challenge that I'm going to start. I'm going to work with my friends over at Body Metrics and get some baseline information of my body composition, my VO2 max, and
improving VO2 max. VO2 max basically is how well you deliver oxygen to the cells that you need when you're actively exercising. So, if we can increase our cardiac output and improve our pulmonary status, then you're going to increase cardiac output. You're going to be putting more blood, more oxygen to the cells. So the better that is, the better your fitness. It's kind of a biomarker gauge, if you will, of how fit we are. So, but, body composition is also something that we want to improve. Nobody wants to lug around extra weight that's not serving a purpose, if you will, either. So that's, if we can increase our muscle mass, we're going to increase our strength, and that's going to help us with glucose transportation or utilization too. So, but not only do we need to get the oxygen, the glucose there, we got to utilize it. And so that will help with the muscles being in better shape. And
definitely. So I'm not sure what that looks like. I don't know. Mark might have a better.
So, but yeah, we've got some basic starting parameters, if you will, that we have initiated. So we're gonna try to start moving forward with, and I think it's not only it's important if yes, you may have an interest in improving your muscle mass and strength and stability for racing or performance, but it's very important for age when we get older, and longevity.
Yeah.
So that's if you can keep or maintain or build muscle strength now, then that is actually going to help you later when we get older and we have to go on the airplane by ourselves as a 70 or 80-year-old individual, going up and down the jetways, putting your luggage in the overhead compartments, and even something as simple as bone mass will also improve, which, hip fractures, falling, those things can be absolutely detrimental to the elder. And so that's something we want to avoid. And that's where the strength and stability and coordination come in.
Yeah. The other thing that we're going to have to work on is I do have a little bit of a hip and knee issue that needs some physical therapy. It's nothing huge, but I have done some physical therapy. I need to do some physical therapy a little more regularly, but we'll be working with that too. So I can't just go out and run and run and run. I have to work in some biking, some other things that are going to increase my
stretch,
strengthen,
and increase and improve mitochondrial function. So there's a lot of things that we focus on in our practice about how we can improve those things, and that's really a key. Yes, it's also it's nice to be able to feel good after you get through with a race, but it's also important to be able to
feel good during the race.
Or, going to the grocery store, carrying in groceries, or, going up a set of steps, or climbing hills and mountains like we've done. So that's all part of it too.
Yeah. So another thing I just want to put in here, because I think sometimes people get this idea in their head that, being someone who completes a marathon, which I guess I still kind of think this of a marathon, like, holy cow, I can't believe people actually just do that. But I know there are people that think the same thing about a half marathon. And the truth is, like, if I can do it, anyone can do it. Really.
True.
I mean,
yes, you may not think you can, but you can.
Yeah.
It just takes time, training, and the right mindset, and the right fuel and hydration.
Yes. And also, it is something that I've done other endurance events too. We've done 29029 climbs. I did a Avon 3-day breast cancer walk, which was a marathon walk one day and a half marathon walk the next day. Like, I've done those things. And one thing that I have found as a woman who has struggled with being comfortable in my body, not as much now. And I really think that endurance events and doing this type of thing it really does give you a whole different appreciation for your body, because it doesn't matter what your body looks like. Your body can carry you through something so strenuous. And I never love my body more than when I'm doing a half, or I'm done with a half. Like, I'm like, thank you, body.
Right. Absolutely. You have to say that when you're out there, because it's just a mantra that keeps you going too. But we got a happy bird right out the way. But I've noticed too on a lot of the marathons that I'm running, I'm a small frame kind of guy, and I'm in a pretty good physical shape, endurance wise too. And so I can literally just sign up for a marathon and go run it in a week or two. So it's not that big of a deal. But I have noticed that there are a lot of individuals that are very heavy, or that may seem out of shape, but yet they can get it done. These people can get it done. They may be significantly overweight. I'm talking about 100 pounds or so, even overweight, but yet they're able to have the mindset and have the endurance training to be able to finish something, like whether it's a half or a full. And it's like, wow, those knees have got to be sore when you get done. So that's certainly something that you may think that I'm never going to be able to do one of those, but you could do something like that. It's something that you just need to really have the right mind about it. Mm-hmm. But, during these events too, you just need to listen to your body. That's what it all boils down to. You may have a plan. And a lot of folks, when they first start these types of events, may have a plan or a time they want to beat, or a certain time per mile that they want to try to keep. But when it all boils down to it, the best thing you can do is run without a watch. Just listen to your body. Don't listen to your watch. You got to run to where you feel good. And there is. And I can give you an example in my own situation. When I go running on these marathons, if I go out too hard and too fast for too long, it kind of shuts my gut down. And so I know I've done this so many times now, 75 marathons or whatever, but I've done it enough now that I know that when I get hungry, I've got a good pace. So if I'm not hungry and I start feeling full, I'm going too fast. So you got to listen. You got to listen to what your body's saying. It could be a knee, can be a hip, could be muscle fatigue, whatever it is. You just need to understand that things aren't going to go as planned. Plan A is good, but plan B is okay too.
Right. I mean, ultimately, it's just about.
So, but we hope that, everybody goes out and enjoys just getting out in nature. That's some of the benefits of doing these outdoor events and in space like that, is to enjoy nature, like the happy birds that we have outside our windows here. But, just getting out and seeing the sun come up or go down and enjoying the camaraderie, the social aspect of it, that part is just as important for a longevity as being in shape too.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's definitely true.
Well, we hope everybody got a little bit of inspiration on this, and we hope to bring you some more podcasts about these type of similar situations. Of course, Anybody has any questions or comments or wants to see something specifically for us to bring up on a podcast, reach out to us.
Yeah, let us know. And we will kind of keep you up to date on my little experiment on how to increase muscle and my VO2.
Yep.
So
follow us along at revelationhealthandwellbeing.com. We hope you have a healthy day.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Rev Up Health. We hope you're leaving with some valuable insights to supercharge your health journey.
Don't forget to follow or subscribe to Rev Up Health wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a rating and review.
Have a topic you want us to explore? Reach out to us on social media channels. We love hearing from our wellness community.
Until next time, keep thriving, and remember, your journey to health is a journey to a better you.
Stay well, and we'll connect with you again soon. This is Tandi.
And this is Dr. Mark, signing off from Rev Up Health. Take care.
The information provided in this podcast is for educational purposes only and is not intended as medical advice. The content is designed to support, not replace, the relationship that exists between a patient and their healthcare provider. Always consult with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your healthcare regimen, including diet, exercise, or treatment plans. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the hosts and guests and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Revelation Health and Wellbeing.